Alright, hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Good Reviews, back to talk more Netflix's The Dark Crystal Age of Resistance. We're on episode 2. It is called Nothing is Simple Anymore. No, it's not. In fact, I gotta turn them off. I've had to have the subtitles on for this whole thing, because all the names and the words are I don't know how to spell them. Half the time I don't know what they're saying, so I actually had to turn on subtitles. I just left them on after a while because I want to get it all straight. It's a lot. Again, the original movie was in the 80s, and let's talk about that right off the bat. Is that when I grew up, we had stuff that was actually good and challenging and scary and dark, and worlds that were really, really unbelievable. We've been in a real drought for that kind of stuff. We had Return to Oz, Labyrinth, The Dark Crystal, The Goonies, Explorers. There were so many really cool things in this time period that we grew up on. Even Pee-wee's Big Adventure was different. And in the 90s there were some great cartoons. Let's not forget about that. But for the most part, kids have had a real soft touch when it comes to programming. So even if I have some problems watching this, it is a return to form. This is stuff that as a kid you can go, oh my god, did you watch Dark Crystal? That shit's crazy. And we're back to it. And that's one thing that I will definitely say that is a positive. As a kids later that grow up watching this will have that thing. And will maybe make them want to watch some of the stuff from when I was growing up. Now, another thing is, okay, so I was thinking this was a reboot, a different telling of the original story. It's seeming like it's a prequel, right? And if it's a prequel, okay, and while I'm enjoying, I can enjoy the journey, if this is the Star Wars prequels where it's just are we just going to watch everything completely crumble and fall apart and everyone die? I don't know if I'm up for that. Because everything seems to be such a fucking bummer lately. And is that just, and I know I don't want to be political, but is that because all these shows have this kind of message that remind me of the stuff that's going on in our world right now because of the Trump era? If that's the case, look, we used to, Breaking Bad's a dark show. Game of Thrones is a dark show. Walking Dead's a dark show, but it's also entertaining. In the end, no matter how much intellectual stimuli I want, as much as I want to be challenged, as much as I want to see great writing and great performances, I also want to be entertained. It's just, I'm sorry, I got this hair sticking out. I also want to be entertained on some level. And everything's just been so dour and so bleak. Everything just has this let's make a point. Let's make this real dark point about everything right now. And I'm actually having to take breaks and watch things that are completely, free of me having to think that much. And believe me, shows like Dark, I like that. It's entertaining and it's thought-provoking. This is that too. But it's just, again, it's just another show that just has such our feelings. It's you're not telling me anything that I don't already know, that the world doesn't already know. So I feel like you're hoping through each show that you put out that you're going to reach new people to open their eyes to how bad things are and how we need to change them. Great. But could you also entertain us at the same time a little bit? Maybe give us a little sugar with a whole bunch of the bitter? But anyway, because I know I get a lot of people from overseas that watch my stuff that are just stupid Americans always want happy endings. No, I don't need a happy ending. I just don't need it to be so bleak. And so far it's got a mixture of both, but this is really stuff, like some of this stuff in this show, the logic of it all is shit only a kid would believe, or really, 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 really ignorant people, like really. And I know that there are ignorant, really ignorant people out there, but the plot of this, a lot of these things are based on very simple, easily seen through lies and logic that just where you just have to go, okay, hang on, I've got to take my brain out. Okay, tell me that again. Oh, sure. But that's not to take away again from the imagination, the world, how awesome this all looks. It's so gorgeous. But the thing is like it's the jingling keys, okay? If you're just showing me something pretty, it has to have substance. And it has that too. But again, like I said, I had to even write this down, like, and we'll point it out later. Like, there's just stuff that just doesn't make, like logical sense to an adult watching this. And so my suspension of disbelief has to go, it goes like, okay, if I just accept this, fine. Like I have to pretend that I'm like some kid that's never seen anything before. So we jump in, and we were kind of bookended, so we'll just cover her story really quick, that Augur wakes up, right? She was given this machine by the skeksis to look and send her mind across the stars, because she's this really powerful being on Thra. And she basically goes into a coma while she visits other places with her mind. And her little assistant, the podlings, they're great. They speak kind of like their own language mixed in with like words that they only pick up from, that are created specifically by us. And she finally wakes up, and I like how she's just like cracks and dust and everything flies off. I mean, this lady can just sit in a chair and not eat. And basically it seems like pretty immortal, which is amazing. Like, where do I sign up for that? But she's been woken up because something in Thra has woken her up. She senses that the, crystal and everything is dying, and that the skeksis told her that she, like, was going to be, they were going to protect the crystal while she's away. Yeah, this all-knowing, like, this very smart, mystic, she's not I don't know, she's like a sorceress, right? She's supposed to be so smart, she just buys into, because they give her, like, this new technology, and so that means that they're good people, right? You just hand them over the most powerful thing on your planet because they jingled the keys in front of her and said, look at this machine. Really? Okay, see, again, it's where I have to go, okay, so this person is fooled by a bunch of liars. Really obvious liars, too. Like, everything that comes out of their mouth is like, wag the dog, spinning, spinning everything in obvious lies. And she just falls for it. And for a whole long time, long enough for that her original assistant is now the grandson of her original, like, servant. So, but she does, like, start to go, okay, well, I gotta go see the skeksis, because they have answers. And she, heads out, and she kind of does this turn where she looks back at the building, like, maybe if I just stayed, I could just, why should I even bother with this kind of thing? But she goes. Now, for Deet's part of the story, this is actually a really fun part of the story. I think that her story is going to have probably the most adventure and fun in it. Where she's getting, she's got the, again, smart stuff. Like, she's got the thing over her eyes to adjust to the sunlight. And all the, the world that she sees around her and everything is really beautiful. And she meets, like, the fuzzball-y guys that, from the first movie. I can't remember what they're called right now. They're really cool. Again, they remind me of critters, but nice. Like the critters from the horror movie with Scott Grimes and D. Wallace Stone. But, like, cute ones, that aren't, just all mouth and teeth. This is all mouth and teeth, too, but they look more like little dogs. And apparently they got a structure, and getting its belly scratched, I think that was probably its wife that got mad at him that he was letting its belly get scratched by a person. But Deet runs into one of these spider creatures, and it tries to attack her. And again, this whole attack, this whole sequence is done really well. Really, really well. You believe, like, it's hard sometimes to believe that this isn't an actual world, even though it's, clearly constructed and puppets and stuff. But I actually believe this is like almost happening. It's hard to explain how I believe this stuff is happening more than the actual content of the episodes, you know, the story. Uh, and we're introduced to Hup, a podling who wants to be a paladin, comes in to save her. I love this whole bit, the spitting where it turns into the webbing, and she uses him as a battering ram. It's all really cool, and these two characters then are on the same journey. He wants to go to where, you know, the royal class of Gelfling are, to tell them about the darkening, and he's going there to become a paladin. It's kind of a very Wizard of Oz-esque kind of feel, where, you know, like, we're off to meet somebody. I don't know, but it's pretty entertaining, this part of it. And then we also have Brea. Now, Brea wants answers to the symbol that she saw when the book all freaked out. Now, at first, you know, the librarian doesn't want to help, but in the end, he tells her about the Seafin. And these are people that, like, are seafaring gelflings that are apparently not to be trusted. Like, is anybody in this world, I guess, in this show? But we go there, and we're introduced to Eddie Izzard's Katia, who's like this soothsayer. And in this bit, though, we get some really smart little bit of, like, something that, you know, you just don't see in kid stuff, which is he tries to slip her a Mickey. And Brea's very smart and kind of sees through that this guy could be up to something, and drops the payment on the ground. And so they have to go after the money, because that's what they're really most, you know, looking for. And she switches the drinks. She pulls a Confessions of a Dangerous Mind on him, and he drinks this, like, forget-me-not stuff, and she turns the tables on him. Now, when he sees that she's, like, tricked him, he tries to assault her, and the other Sifa knocks him out. So then why then, like, then they bring her in front of her mother, like, or they send her to her mother, where she's punished for looking for answers. Again, it's very much like, you know, how a reflection of today, like the smart people trying to tell people, look, there's something going on here, and nobody wanting to listen. So she's, like, sent to this Order of Lesser Service, which, again, it's the world that they live in is so structured around the belief that these skeksis are all knowing and all powerful. It's like, well, don't you remember what you had before them? But no, they all stick to these things because it's almost like they want you to be more on board with the destruction of this world, because they're allowing their own ignorance is allowing it to happen, and so maybe the whole world needs to fall so that they can start again. Or, hey, I have an idea. How about you just believe some of these people that have been, you know, that you wouldn't have a reason to distrust up until now, that maybe you should, you know, look at, go after, check on these fucking vulture monsters that are horrifying looking and seem to control everything without, you know, like, it's like a dictatorship with, like, 8 dictators, like, all of different levels. I mean, the emperor is the emperor, but, like, they all seem to, like, have some degree of power, right? But no. So then we get the last part of the story, right? And that's Rian, the major part of this, where the skeksis are after him. They're spreading lies, saying that he murdered Mira, and of course these soldiers who believe in their oaths blindly follow it, and so they go after his friend Gurjin, you know, immediately. I love just how immediately they just turn on one of their own and believe these fucking monsters. That, again, just this willful ignorance. But he dreamfests with Gurjin. And he sees the truth. And I'm just thinking, okay, well then just do that to everyone. Just find other guards, dream fast, dream fast, dream fast. But no, we can't do that, because that's a simple answer to the problem. So we have to do this convoluted thing where it's just like, no, nobody's going to believe him. We're going to say, oh, his mind is sick. Fake news. It's all fake news. fake dream fast. It don't believe it. Oh no, facts? Dream facts? No. So they go to get the essence that they left. Now this is cool. The little wax snake on there is great. But the Chamberlain comes in, because of course he does. And he eats the snake and steals the essence. Because every time you get a little hope, they take it away from you. Well, the scientist comes in, played by Mark Hamill. So you get Mark Hamill and Simon Pegg in this scene, which is great. And they have their own little fight because, you know, it's like clearly the lock is open, the door is open. He doesn't see it until like last. Because again, this is like this is child logic, man. It's just shit that only kids would like. Oh, we get like, I don't know. So he sees it, and they get into this like weird little knife fight. Like, I like this stuff because it's like a couple of birds going at each other. They dropped the essence, which thankfully didn't get drank and didn't break when it hit the fucking ground, because that would have just been par for the course. Rian does get it, and they run off. But they get cornered. Gurjin gets taken, and it looks like all hope is lost, that they've gone again. And I practically thought Rian was just going to give him the vial, because that's just how the story's been, like, just, okay. But the sunlight comes through, hits the beam of light, kind of creates kind of a blinding effect in the hallway. Gurjin says, run now, stabs the Chamberlain, and Rian jumps to his freedom. It's a very cool shot, very cool, very just real looking. I mean, this is all done with practical and some CGI, but like, it's seamless. And he escapes into the water, and then even though up until this point they say if he escapes the castle, we're fucked. But as soon as they go, oh well, you know, he's gone, we're done. The guy goes, oh, well, I don't think so. There might be some other way. And it's like, oh, wake up your mind. Either he escapes and we're screwed, or, you know, they change the rule. Like, again, wow, I have, you know, a nostalgia feel for the Dark Crystal, and as an adult I can appreciate watching it, but this is still for kids. And so I guess it's a little dumbed down. I feel like it's a little dumbed down so that they can, for kids to understand it, but at the same time, I think some kids are going to see right through this and go, well, why don't they just do this? Kids have seen a lot. So I feel like some of the story logic in this, so just to get the plot where they want it to go, just doesn't really make much sense. It's entertaining. It looks all pretty. But you know, and I don't know if this is just going to be a one-season show or not, but anyway, it was still a pretty good episode. I liked the whole Deet stuff. I liked Brea's character and everything, again, like, other than the fact that if this is the prequel and I know where it's all headed, that makes it a little less, where I really wish this was just a retelling where we could just tell the story where not everybody has to, I don't know. I know, and not everything needs a happy ending, Rob, but like, well, does anything get a, you know, like, a proper ending? That's what I'm looking for. It doesn't have to be happy, it has to be a proper ending. Like the ending of Breaking Bad was a proper ending. Now I know, forget about the movie and everything, it's just an extension of the end of the show. Tying loose ends. But it had a proper ending. Not everything does that. You know, like, Buffy had a proper ending, even if you wanted more after it. The Leftovers had a proper ending. You know, and again, but it left me want. I still wanted more, but it ended properly. Not every show does this. Not every show can. Not every show really knows where it's going when it says that they do. I believe this show probably does know where it's going. I just hope that I'm happy when I get there. So, for the most part. Anyway, if you like this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe, all that jazz. Otherwise, we'll be back with more Dark Crystal in the next couple of days. Have a great day. Oh yeah, like, subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications, you know, blah, blah, blah.